Can you imagine being thrown out of your own home, humiliated in a place you built from the ground up? Today, we're diving into a story that sounds like a Hollywood movie, but it's painfully real. It's the story of a woman who was kicked out of her own hotel, simply because of how she looked. But what happened next didn't just change her life, it sent shockwaves across the entire nation. This isn't just a story about injustice, it's a powerful lesson in resilience, dignity, and the quiet strength that can move mountains. Stick with me, because this story will stay in your heart long after you've heard it. Our story begins with a woman named Elena Vance. From a young age, Elena had a dream. She didn't come from money, but she was rich in ambition and a work ethic forged in the fires of adversity. She saw the world not for what it was, but for what it could be. She envisioned creating spaces where everyone, regardless of their background, felt welcomed, respected, and valued. It was this vision that fueled her day in and day out as she worked tirelessly, saving every penny and learning everything she could about the hospitality industry. After years of relentless effort, sacrificing weekends and social gatherings for business plans and investor meetings, her dream finally materialized. The Azure, a stunning boutique hotel, wasn't just a building of steel and glass. It was the embodiment of her soul. Every detail, from the thread count of the sheets to the art on the walls, was handpicked by Elena. It was more than a business. It was her legacy, a testament to the idea that with enough grit and grace, anything is possible. The Azure quickly became a beacon of luxury and inclusivity, a jewel in the city's crown. One crisp autumn afternoon, Elena decided to visit the Azure unannounced. She wasn't dressed in a designer suit or dripping with jewels. Instead, she wore comfortable travel clothes, a simple hoodie, worn-in jeans and sneakers. She had just returned from a long cross-country trip visiting family, and wanted to see her hotel through the eyes of an ordinary guest. She wanted to feel the experience, to ensure her vision of warmth and welcome was truly alive in her absence. She walked into the grand lobby, a space she had designed to inspire awe and comfort, and simply took a moment to soak it all in, a proud smile playing on her lips. As she made her way towards a plush armchair in a quiet corner of the lobby, intending to observe the daily flow, a new junior manager, a man named Mr. Harrison, intercepted her. He looked her up and down, his gaze lingering on her casual attire. His expression soured, filled with a disdain he didn't bother to hide. "Can I help you?" he asked, his tone dripping with condescension. "This area is for registered guests only." Elena, taken aback but remaining calm, simply replied, "I'm just waiting for someone. I won't be long." But Harrison wasn't listening. He had already judged her. In his mind, her simple clothes meant she didn't belong in this world of luxury he was now a part of. He saw her not as a person, but as a problem to be removed. "Ma'am," he said, his voice growing sterner, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You're making our actual guests uncomfortable." The accusation stung. Elena looked around. No one was even paying her any attention. The only discomfort in the room was radiating from Harrison himself. She tried to reason with him, to explain, but he cut her off, his prejudice a solid wall she couldn't penetrate. His voice escalated, drawing unwanted attention. "Security!" he bellowed. Two guards approached, their faces grim. Elena felt a knot tighten in her stomach. This was her sanctuary, her dream, and it was turning into a public spectacle of humiliation. "Please," she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. "There is no need for this, let's just talk." But Harrison was on a power trip. "Get her out," he commanded the guards. "Now!" They flanked her, their presence imposing and threatening. As they escorted her towards the revolving doors, every eye in the lobby was on her. Whispers and stares followed her like a shadow. She was being ejected from her own hotel, treated like a trespasser in the house she built. As the glass doors swung shut behind her, leaving her on the cold pavement, a wave of emotions washed over Elena. There was shock, anger, and a deep, profound sadness, but beneath it all, something else was stirring: resolve. She could have stormed back in, revealed her identity, and had Harrison fired on the spot. The thought was tempting, a flash of righteous fury. But that wasn't her way. She had built her empire on dignity and principle, and she wouldn't let one man's bigotry compromise her values. She knew a louder, more powerful response was necessary, not just for her, but for everyone who had ever been judged unfairly. That evening, Elena didn't sleep. She sat at her desk, the city lights twinkling outside her window, and she began to write. She didn't write an angry tirade. She wrote a calm, articulate, and powerful open letter. She detailed the incident not with rage, but with a heart-wrenching clarity. She described her dream of creating an inclusive space and the painful irony of being cast out from it. She didn't name Mr. Harrison. Instead, she spoke about the underlying issue, the unconscious bias and systemic prejudice that allows such an incident to happen. She ended the letter not with a call for punishment, but with a question for the whole country to ponder. How do we build a world where dignity is not determined by our appearance? The next morning, she posted the letter online. The response was instantaneous and overwhelming. It went viral. Her story was picked up by local news, then national news, then international media. It was shared millions of times on social media, with the hashtag #DoSiAmelina trending for days. People from all walks of life shared their own experiences of being misjudged and mistreated. Her personal humiliation had struck a universal chord, transforming into a massive global conversation about respect, identity, and the subtle ways prejudice poisons our society. The Azure Hotel was suddenly at the center of a media firestorm. Back at the hotel, chaos reigned. The board of directors was in an emergency meeting. Mr. Harrison, upon realizing the identity of the woman he had thrown out, was in a state of utter shock and panic. His single act of prejudice had brought a crisis upon the company he was so eager to impress. The board's decision was swift. They issued a public apology, not just to Elena, but to everyone who had ever felt unwelcome. They announced a complete overhaul of their company-wide training programs, focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion, with Elena herself invited to lead the initiative. Harrison was, of course, terminated, his career a casualty of his own prejudice. But this story isn't about one man getting fired. It's about what happened next. Elena accepted the board's offer. She could have walked away and let the brand suffer, but her love for her dream was stronger than her anger. She saw this as an opportunity for real, lasting change. She spearheaded the creation of a new training protocol, the Azure Standard, which would be implemented not just in her hotels, but offered as a model for the entire hospitality industry. She used her platform to launch a foundation dedicated to funding scholarships for underprivileged students wanting to enter the hospitality business, ensuring the next generation of leaders would be more diverse and empathetic. The incident that was meant to humiliate her became her most powerful tool for transformation. Elena Vance didn't just reclaim her hotel. She used the moment to redefine the standards of an entire industry. She showed the world that true strength isn't about clapping back with equal force. It's about absorbing a blow and channeling that energy into building something better, something that heals and elevates. Her story became a modern parable, a reminder that our response to injustice is what truly defines us. She acted with grace when she was shown none, and in doing so, she didn't just win a battle, she started a movement. So, what can we take away from Elena's incredible journey? It's a powerful reminder that our worth is not defined by someone else's perception of us. It's a call to action to challenge our own biases and to stand up against injustice, not with rage, but with constructive action. Elena's story teaches us that even in our most painful moments of humiliation, we have a choice. We can let it break us, or we can use it as fuel to build a better, more compassionate world. Her legacy is not just a chain of luxury hotels, but a global conversation about the simple, profound act of treating every single person with dignity and respect. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible story. I hope it moved you and gave you something to reflect on. If you found this story as inspiring as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories, and share this video to help spread the message. Your support helps us continue to bring these important narratives to light. Until next time, stay inspired.